The morality clause studios hide from every contract. ABC buried a Roseanne revival that was pulling in over 18 million viewers a week, one of the biggest comebacks in television history. And the reason they killed it is something they never wanted you to know. They didn't call it a cancellation. They called it a morality clause. And that one phrase is doing more work for every studio in Hollywood than anyone has ever fully explained to you. Here's what nobody tells you. The clause that ended Roseanne wasn't written to punish her. It was written almost a century earlier for a completely different purpose, and studios have been quietly weaponizing it ever since, not to protect morals, but to protect money. Once you see how it actually functions, you'll never look at a sudden cancellation the same way again. Morality clauses go back to 1921, after actor Fatty Arbuckle was tried for manslaughter and Paramount's theaters emptied overnight. Universal's lawyers panicked, and by 1922 the first morality clause appeared in a studio contract, language giving the studio the right to fire a performer whose conduct might shock the community or embarrass the company. It sounded like a value statement. It was actually an insurance policy. From that moment on, every major studio built the same escape hatch into every contract, and the clause quietly stopped being about ethics. It became about exposure, legal, financial, reputational. That distinction is the entire story, and it's the one buried in the fine print of nearly every deal signed today. In March of 2018, Roseanne Barr posted a tweet that ABC called racist within hours. The network pulled the show that same day, invoking the morality clause in her contract. But here's the number nobody reported alongside it. ABC had just renewed Roseanne for a full season, in a deal worth an estimated $45 million, with Barr as the largest single-episode salary on the network. A full breach of that contract, done the ordinary way, would have meant paying out guaranteed episodes she never filmed. The morality clause let them walk away instead. Zero severance, zero penalty, contract voided as though it had never existed. And ABC didn't lose the show. Within 9 days, the network announced the Connors' same cast, same sets, same crew, same time slot. Roseanne's character quietly killed off in a single line of dialogue. Advertisers who'd pulled out over her tweet came right back. Disney, ABC's parent company, absorbed almost none of the financial damage. On paper, this looked like accountability. In practice, it was a company using a morality clause to cancel a person while keeping the product. Now here's the part that should really bother you. Around that same period, other performers with documented histories of conduct far more damaging than a tweet, harassment complaints, DUIs, on-set abuse allegations, kept their contracts fully intact, morality clause untouched, because their shows weren't losing money and their departure would have cost the studio more than it saved. The clause wasn't triggered by the severity of what someone did. It was triggered by whether firing them was cheaper than keeping them. Roseanne wasn't purged because her conduct crossed a line ABC couldn't tolerate. She was purged because ABC had just built a replacement show ready to launch the moment they didn't have to pay her anymore. The scandal was real. The exit was financial. Those are two different things, and the industry only ever lets you see the first one. Once you understand that, every sudden cancellation looks different. The clause isn't a moral tripwire. It's a unilateral termination button dressed up as principle, and it only gets pressed when pressing it is profitable. That means any actor, any showrunner, any writer is never actually protected by the size of their deal. A $45 million contract can vanish in an afternoon, with no negotiation, no arbitration, no severance, the instant a studio decides removal is the cheaper option. It's why talent increasingly self-censors, why publicists run every public statement through legal before it's posted, and why an entire industry now operates under a clause most people have never even read in their own contracts. Think about what that does to the shows themselves. Writers' rooms lose voices mid-season with no warning. Franchises get quietly rewritten around an actor's sudden absence. Entire arcs planned years in advance get scrapped because a legal team found a cheaper door out of a deal. The audience just sees a cancellation, or a recast, or a character who moved away. They never see the spreadsheet underneath it. So the next time a beloved show ends abruptly, or a star vanishes from a franchise with no real explanation, ask yourself what the contract actually said, and who benefited from calling it a matter of morals instead of a matter of money. Because somewhere in another studio's filing cabinet right now, there's a clause just like it, waiting to be used the exact same way.